Good morning, Internet. This is the old fat dad, and welcome back to another beautiful day on the Goober Nation gun range. Today, we're going to look at a much maligned round by the tactical couch sitter crowd, the 12 gauge birdshot round. And here's that nefarious birdshot that I was talking about. It is 12 gauge, 2 3/4 shells. They got 1.125 ounces of lead shot inside, and looks like it's number 7.5. Right down there. Looks like this typical low brass birdshot round. And we're going to be using my terrific Turkish tactical 12 gauge. It is a over under, which is kind of a funky little setup, but I gotta tell you, I have really been enjoying this little shotgun. It's nice and handy, compact, and it's really simple. I mean, pump shotgun's nice, semi-autos are nice, but this seems to be just really dead reliable. You get 2 shots, 2 trigger pulls, and there's not much else going on there. Fun little gun. Got a little Holosun 510C up top, really helps get yourself on target. Yeah, and that's about it for this guy. And to measure the lethality of this birdshot, we're going to use a tactic that Iraq veteran 8888, I believe, used, and you can search him up. He did a test of lethality of 22 long rifle out to some pretty long ranges, but he used 1/2-inch plywood. So that's what we've got here, and if that birdshot can punch through the plywood, then theoretically we know that it would potentially be lethal. So what we'll do is we'll walk back a couple of different distances, take a shot, and see if it goes through, see what the damage is. So, got that board set up, got the 12 gauge ready to go. First shot is 3 yards, which I think is a good place to start. That's a reasonable distance for maybe inside of a house. Let's see how she does. I'll be aiming at that white mark at the very top of the board for our 3-yard test. Here we go. Oh boy, let's take a look at that thing. Test. Here we go. All right, 3 yards. Here we go. And that is a big old hole through that plywood there. And you can see it's kind of speckled with some little piece of birdshot around the outside. Kind of curious if that went through. So let's go around the back side and see if those little bits went through. And it doesn't look like it. So the mass of pellets blew a giant hole through there. The little guys, doesn't look like I see any individual holes going through that plywood. So at 3 yards though, that seems to be a very lethal hit with birdshot. Okay, now we step back to 7 yards, which is 21 feet most days, and that's kind of a longer shot for your house. I mean, take a look around your house and think of all the scenarios where you would be getting a clear shot at 21 feet. Unless you live in a mansion, which I know I have very rich viewers, so I'm sure many of you do live in mansions, but for the not so rich guys like me, a 21-foot shot inside a house is, I think that's kind of on the outer edge of what I might expect. So, all right, enough chatting. We are at the 7-yard line. Let's see how that birdshot does. We're gonna go a little bit lower there, get another little white dot, and let's see what happens here. Okay, okay. There is junk flying everywhere. I've got multiple holes now through the plywood. Let's go take a look. And just to be clear, I don't have any chokes or anything funky like that on my tactical Turkish 12 gauge. It's just a regular old improved cylinder, whatever the heck you call it. All right, here is the new set of holes in the plywood. That's our main hole there, and then we got a little guy up there as well, but still pretty darn big. That's a 2-finger hole there for sure, and I can get a thumb in that one, no problem. We can see that we've speckled the board again with a lot of pellets. Let's take a look at the backside, see what that tells us. Wow, okay. So, huge hole through the bottom. This one got a little close to our first hole, but I don't think that we I don't think we compromise it. Plywood's really neat in that it holds its integrity real well unless we have a piece that's blowing off like that. So again, if we're going to go by Iraqi veteran 88 standards there, we are definitely lethal still at 7 yards. So as we get set up here now at the 15-yard line, so we are 45 feet away from our target now. And this is for you mansion guys, because I know some of you would be complaining that I didn't represent you guys with those big houses real well. But what's the purpose for doing this? I see a lot of comments in social media, and I know, slap my wrist for paying attention to what social media says, but just a lot of comments saying that, you know, 12 gauge birdshot's only going to make somebody angry. It's only going to piss somebody off if you hit them with birdshot. And I think this is a good way to illustrate that maybe it's a lot more effective and deadly than people are giving it credit for, especially in a house. I mean, you're not going to take 50 or 100-yard shots in your house, right? I mean, a 15-yard shot is quite a stretch even. So that's why I'm doing it. By the way, like and subscribe and leave a comment. Leave a comment, especially if you disagree with me. I'd like to hear what you think, why I'm wrong about this test. And yeah, we'll talk later in the comments. Let's take our shot at 15 yards though. Oh, that's what I was forgetting something. I've got 2 other little tests I want to do at the end, kind of a little bonus test after we get done shooting this board with our regular birdshot. Okay, so enough talking. We got our 15-yard set up there. Now we're going to shoot for about the middle of the board. So let's see if we can go through at 15 yards. I think we have reached the limit of our effectiveness. I might, you know, I am. I'm going to bump us up to 10 yards and see if I can pop a hole at 10 yards. So let's see if we can go through at 15 yards. Okay, I lied to you guys. I'm not going to 10 yards right away. I checked out the board before I shot at 10 yards and I saw something that I think is worth mentioning. Let's look at the front first. Okay, so here is the front of our board, and you can see it's speckled with all these little rounds of birdshot. And it looks like most of them did not go through, but let's look at the back. We will see that in fact we had multiple penetrations at 15 yards. Again, going by our good friend, Iraqi veteran 88, who is an expert in all this stuff, I'm sure if it goes through half-inch plywood, it's lethal. So 15 yards might actually be pretty darn dangerous. But we're going to do 10 yards, and we'll see if there's a difference. All right, now we're at the 10-yard line. We backed up a little bit. Since our 15-yard shot was questionable, and I think we've compromised a good bit of the board with that 15-yard shot, so I'm going to be shooting pretty low on the shot. Hopefully I get a good spot on that board, and we'll see if it goes through. See what kind of damage it does. So now we're aiming for the bottom of the board. Oh, and I got the slow motion camera set up at a weird angle too. I'm trying to see if maybe we can catch on the slow motion if anything goes through, so I put it right on the edge there. So it might look a little bit weird. Hopefully it turns out okay. Anyhow, here we go. 10 yards, 12 gauge, birdshot. I think I see a hole. Let's check it out. Birdshot. Some of you that don't deal with plywood often in your life might be thinking, how tough can half-inch plywood really be? Well, I encourage you to go to your local hardware store, find a piece of half-inch plywood, and just play with it a little bit. If you can find somebody that can punch through half-inch plywood with their bare fists and not totally destroy every single bone in their hand, I'd like to meet that person, because half-inch plywood's pretty darn tough. Anyways, let's take a look at that shot. So 10 yards, 30 feet. How does the board look? Here is a nice hole right through that plywood. We got pellets everywhere, and it's interesting to see if we can kind of get, sorry, let me see a better angle there. We can get a good idea of that spread there. So that's got a spread that's probably, you know, a little bit wider than my pinky to the thumb for 10 yards. And then at 15 yards, it goes almost all the way across this board, so probably close to 20 inches, 18 to 20 inches. And then at 7 yards, it's pretty darn tight. And then, of course, at 3 yards, it's just one hole. All right, 10 yards backside of the board. What does it look like? Is it as impressive as our other shots? It's pretty gnarly there. Not a nice clean punch hole through like these guys. It seems like it ate this wood up pretty good, but it did not give you that clean punch through hole, but definitely penetrated the wood from that kind of crappy slow-mo shot. You could see that stuff was flying everywhere, blew through there. Still, I would say, pretty darn lethal, and a lot of pellets are going all the way through that plywood there. Besides the fact that I'm a crotchety old man, why would I want to test out 12 gauge birdshot to see if it actually is more lethal than people make it out to be? The biggest reason is if you're going to use one of these things inside your house, you've got a lot of options that are all very high powered, and something like buckshot or slugs are going to do the trick. I'm not trying to say they're not, but with birdshot, you get, I would say, high level lethality, especially at short ranges, and you do not have the penetration of those other rounds like double out buck and slugs, which are going to travel and go through all sorts of things. If you're in an urban environment, if you have family in the house, that's a big concern. I'd hate to be the guy who gets on the news for defending himself in his house only to have killed one of his family members by accident, or a neighbor from over-penetration. So something that I think about, and maybe something that you think about, maybe you guys are all bachelors who live on 50 acres and you can shoot a 50 BMG off in your house and you don't have to worry about penetration, but that's not my situation. So that is the whole reason behind this. Let's move on to the bonus round. On the board now, I've got the remnants of a 3A vest. I'm not saying that vest is a perfect representation of a 3A vest, but I am saying that it's pretty darn close. We're going to shoot it at 3 yards and see what birdshot close range does to a 3A vest that is against a board. So here we go. Let's take our shot. I don't know if you can see that, but it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. I don't know what you guys thought was going to happen, but I think it makes a pretty important point. Let's go take a closer look. Let's answer that first question. Did the vest stop the birdshot? Here is our vest, and I would say, without a doubt, we captured that birdshot. There was no birdshot that made it through that vest. But look at that deformation, and look right there, wearing the vest, holy smokes, is almost worse than not wearing a vest when it comes to getting hit with 12 gauge shot at close range. Look at what it did. Oh my goodness. It just blew a hole through the board after it hit that vest. So body armor that's not ceramic, and even maybe ceramic, I don't have any out here. I should have brought some. That would be a good test to see how well it stops the energy of this birdshot. But body armor is not going to do you much good in this case. That would not be a good day for anybody that got hit, even with body armor. All right, last bonus round test, then I'll leave you alone for the day. So we were shooting this Aguila birdshot target load, and it's 7.5 shot, 1 1/8 and 2 3/4 inch shell. Let me introduce you to birdshot's bigger, meaner brother. This is still birdshot, still 12 gauge, bigger shell, 3 inches, which doesn't really mean a whole lot, but the velocity is a good bit higher. The weight is 1/8 of an ounce heavier. It's bigger shot, number 4 shot, And this is going to be made out of steel pellets. So for folks who maybe want a good in-between, oops, if I don't drop it on the ground, between the lead birdshot and something that's going to act very similar but be made out of something that's a lot harder and carries a little bit more power behind it, this might be the answer. I don't know though. I haven't shot it yet. We're back at 15 yards. We saw what the lead birdshot did, which wasn't a whole lot. How does the steel shot work? I think I've got a little spot to the left on that board that's still pretty unmolested. We're going to shoot for that. Steel shot, 15 yards. Is it going to make a difference? Here we go. Ooh, wow. Okay. Still no major hole there, but I saw a lot of wood flying off the back. Let's take a look at the board. Could definitely tell there's more power behind that shot. That had a lot more recoil. Oh, let's go to the front of the board first. Okay, so I was aiming here, and we had a good bit of drop there. So let's see. Looks like all of our shots kind of landed there. We don't have any of those nice big definitive holes. Let's see what the back of it looks like. Here we go. And here is the back side. So things are a little bit messy back here. So let's see if I can translate a little bit. This is where we hit here. And yeah, we definitely punched through in a lot of spots. A lot more than the lead birdshot for sure. But is there any big holes? Nah, not really. So I would say that more than likely this is again a lethal round at 15 yards even, but it's not. It's losing its effectiveness the farther out we get for sure. Even the steel shot, heavy duty, hard hitter is not punching holes at 15 yards. Good information. And before I let you go, I know I said I wasn't going to do any more, but just wanted to show you some nice little holes through here. That's buckshot. Shot a couple of rounds at the board, and yeah, buckshot's powerful. It's going to go through a board like this, no problem. It's more powerful than birdshot. Not what I'm trying to say here. It's all about birdshot being a viable option, especially, like I said, tight spaces. You're not going to be that far away. You're going to get some pretty impressive holes if you use this stuff. And that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.